Is this guy considering not going left? Come on. What? Well, it's a good flop for us. Dodge this stuff. The thing about like heroes like PA and Bristle is, I mean, they're so flop dependent. We drew a Keenfolk Turret for the first time ever, which makes me happy because I actually just like this card. This Firebrand doesn't feel great. I mean, does this have to go right? Spawning into that PA feels kind of like the worst thing ever. 50-50. With this deck, it's so bad to stack your two green heroes on the same lane, though. I think you just have to just man up and do this. So we're dodging mid, it looks like. Mid is a good dodge lane. Treant and PA are good heroes to just kind of abandon because they're both like good in combat situations, right? This one gives you hero bonus, and this one gives a passive that just scales with combat presence in general. So we abandon mid and just play aggressively for these two other lanes. We just kind of outrace him, I think. Is the best way to try to do it. I want to play into our aura. Developing a cleric into this aura is pretty good. And we can even Keenfolk to help another lane right now, which is actually quite nice. A good thing to do with our mana mid before we get out.
15 seconds.
I think cleric into aura is just safe. Feels good.
I know my priorities.
It's pretty hard for him to answer. Satyr into this. So it's going down to 2. Keenfolk doesn't kill it, unfortunately, which is kind of the one sad thing. So we have to decide here where we're Keenfolking, left or right. Keenfolk does commit additional presence onto the lane. Right doesn't need as much help because it has the Ursa bailing it out. And this is non-mobility Ursa that will allow me to play red cards for the rest of the game. There's nothing Keenfolk does uniquely on this board this turn, so I think Keenfolk left just has to be correct. And this is a good situation for me. I like this. We're using our mana mid on other lanes. We've got two good abandoned heroes to just kind of juke out here. And we're just going to let her die and move on with our lives.
What a lovely day.
He doesn't have a deck that can actually do anything with that, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Mystic Flare next turn? It's not, like, super scary. So, here it's Druid or Vanguard, and obviously it's Druid. Vanguard's not a real card. Okay.
I have learned much in my days. Let me show you.
So, we're going to try to somewhat rely on these two heroes being stuck in this lane, I think.
Know who you're dealing with, do you?
3 buckets left. Could even have another one. Nope. So left lane looks like the kind of fight lane right now. The question is, where do you put the Debbie? So, PA just spawning into nothing actually feels good. This looks like an easy Debbie deployment left. I think the Skywrath additionally will probably go left. I mean, if Skywrath goes right and Debbie goes right, he's got a flare on both Ursa and Debbie. We have initiative right now. He can flare the Debbie plus the creep. I mean, Skywrath, well, I am next turn because he only has the mana for it left. I don't know. I mean, the Skywrath is probably going left with flare. He can kill the Debbie here. Honestly, that's not even that good. Just Debbie plus this creep. That's okay. It's not amazing. Okay, odds of him having flare are mounting. Troll Soothsayer was an option he could play as well. And the Skywrath will just die for free to our Selfish Cleric plus Keenfolk, which feels good. Spent 3 gold. Oh, wait, what are we talking about? This isn't flare range. Yeah, we're good. So we could DI. I mean, killing the Skywrath is tempting, but I think it is just far too important to start killing the Satyr, especially because there might be a health item coming down for the Skywrath. We can't curve anything with this hands. If it's a salve, though, on 3 golds, then we get punished by using Keenfolk first. We could take a pass and see what he does. I think the pressure is really on him to make a play here. He doesn't. He can't really pass back on me with his hands. He could maybe start thinking about passing back now. I don't think so. It's still too early. He's still like, he's got the 7 mana. He's got the item that will either save the tree. Like, it's either a salve, a sword, or a traveler's cloak, right? Which means that either saves the tree, kills the Debbie, or saves the tree, right? Which means he has to play it. So now we can potentially do something else here. We could consider using Divine Intervention, honestly, especially if you play something to threaten Debbie.
Your death will serve a greater purpose.
I think I don't mind using Divine Intervention here. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, everything's taking so much. Just keeping everything alive is really nice. Especially this Cleric, which is into the tree aura. Like, this DI is just so good.
The forest is no place.
So, the last consideration on this play, it's kind of interesting. We could have passed one more time, because we knew he had an item he wanted to play. But at that point, if he's smart, he can think about passing back against me. So there's a pretty big risk in taking a pass one turn longer. We do get rewarded, but I mean, he knows we're passing for reactivity. He knows that for a fact, right? Oh, what that? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. That's so cool. Rebel Decoy. Rebel Decoy here kind of does nothing. I mean, we could decoy. We can't even curve decoy in a rage. Prowler Vanguard is kind of cheeky here. This lane doesn't really need help as much as left. Left is just looking like it's going to be the easy fight lane. Initiative can matter left to lock him out of the Skywrath mana, but honestly, I'm not really afraid of that. We've got good applications for Keen Folk, regardless. Second health item is pretty nice. Honestly, our hand isn't really empty yet. I think I'll go for Cloak over Potion. Like, I want the Potion like next turn, but it feels like it's a turn too early here. So stacking black on the same lane is a little bit risky, but this lane needs a lot of help. We're getting a creep spawn over him here. This lane has all these improvements, making it kind of the ideal fight lane. And we have a hand that only has one black card to be able to play. Also, we still have this Ursa, which is giving us... Since he's our splash hero, he's the only lane we can enrage to, so... I think I'm fine committing harder on left than anywhere else. Giving him initiative on the Vanguard honestly might have been wrong. For sure. I don't know. It seems kind of early to play for initiative, but... I think it's a little bit risky letting him play something here. Like, Mystic Flare on Sorla and this Selfish Cleric is too good. This was a misplay. For sure, I think. Okay, so we got rewarded for our misplay because he doesn't have the flare. We have to clean this up in case he's trying to do something cheeky, like pass for reactivity. It's just a real unnecessary risk, basically, to not clearing this up. So obviously we're going to keep this alive. We have a Disciple here. We can curve Roseleaf Druid into Disciple. Disciple's interesting. It's a bit of a YOLO Disciple. It does fairly little this turn. I think it's probably too important to play Rebel Decoy to allow the Sorla to hit tower. So curve Druid into Decoy or Disciple Decoy. I kind of think I like Disciple Decoy at that point. Especially because we need to get these black things out. So we'll play the Disciple here, because this is where we want the curve, if we get it. And then we'll play the Decoy, where the curve is impossible.
You look like you could use this.
This play feels good. The one thing about this play is it could be considered a little committal, but he does have to defend this because we have we have ancient potential if he doesn't do anything about this. Right now, with just Treant respawning, he doesn't have pick off, right? Yeah, no pick off, so I'm not going to preempt Cloak. So because we're left lane, because we've got the Disciple, and because we've got the Sorla, there's kind of this weird mechanic and artifact where like you don't want to overcommit to a lane, but certain tools are so overcommittal that they allow you to, because like if you have enough damage, then it's actually a win condition. It's Kind of this bizarre thing. Okay. And then we've got the unique ogre here, which is pretty important. And we do just have no choice but to develop the ogre. We want to play around something like a coup. And this is good, because right lane is kind of our lose condition now. There it is, we played around coup, and now he's just kind of in an awkward position, I think. So the question is, do we need initiative left to next turn? And the answer to that kind of has to be no. Like, it's always more important to just develop a little bit more damage and survivability here, because this right lane has become our lose condition. Difference of 9, I mean, it's never going to make a difference on cloaking this, so we'll just pressure this. And here we're fairly happy we took the Prowler Vanguard. Like, it was a risk giving up initiative. Ended up working out in that case. Still a misplay, but I mean, it ended up working out. Whatever that means.
15 seconds remaining.
So now we kind of desperately want to get out of left. The best draw in our deck here is Relentless Pursuit. I kind of don't really see a way we're losing this anyway, though. So this is kind of the converse. This happens to his deck when he kind of doesn't draw the nuts. He's on kind of the back heel here. Can he defend left? He just double deployed left. I mean, we drew the pursuit, but oh, I mean, he got the god thing here, right? Can he actually defend this? What the heck? I mean, it's at 8. This is a risky defense if it doesn't work out. I'm just gonna say.
Never had a chance.
Roseleaf Rejuvenator might be an option. I think if he played both green here, it actually could telegraph he's sitting on the Roseleaf Rejuvenator, which is kind of scary.
This will give me the edge.
And of course, my Debbie has no real way of staying alive here. We can't even... Relentless Pursuit is so scary to use as well, because if it moves our Sorla away, we're maybe a little screwed. Yeah, there's the Roseleaf. This is scary. I mean, we do have no choice but to take this tower, truly. Now, the sword here is important because it sets the Treant into Keenfolk range. Okay, no longer setting the Treant into Keenfolk range. But are we losing? This is spooky. We need to get these heroes out of here now. I mean, we should be fine, but this game felt pretty won, and now it feels more spooky.
My every step shall shake.
I don't know. We got green coming in and left is the fight lane, so we just have nothing we can actually even do here. Skyreth is spooky now too. I mean, Sorla's at 6, which is the perfect range for Skyreth, and there's truly nothing I can do about that. TP Scroll is a great buy here, but this left lane is spooky. This Roseleaf Rejuvenator swings so much on this board state like that. Like, this is just the perfect board state for a Roseleaf. Double Enrage is kind of nice to actually have here for once, which is interesting. If we get the spawns right, we could maybe play a creep. If we spawn something next to the Sorla, we could maybe open with a creep to the other side of her to stop the flare from blowing her up. But honestly, I'm not sure how much the Sorla matters here. Is this guy considering not going left? Come on. What?
Take heed. It is unlikely you shall get another chance to flee.
He doesn't have anything he can really do off of green. We want to just develop our tools, Roseleaf and Satyr. We've got nothing to play to curve this out. We could be forced to enrage, which means the Satyr is important to play first. We want to develop the Satyr where it's actually threatening something, which is basically impossible. But it could kill something with a Keenfolk here.
With you by my side, no harm will come to me.
This will be
Not sure what we're going to use our mana on here, honestly.
Interesting.
I guess that. I don't know. I think we just have to keenfolk this tree again. We need to release this Sorla from her prison.
I will fight for you.
His disarm won't even matter if we have initiative here. And I think we're geared to have initiative here, right? I mean, nothing else is happening and he kind of has to play cards. We might have to decline our TP scroll if we want initiative, which is kind of the sad thing. Oh well. We'll live. The initiative killing the treants is just too important. Okay, so let's see if he gives us initiative. If he passes across, we'll just TP our Farground, which honestly feels fine either way. Like, initiative is nice, but hey, a free hero is nice too. Then there's the one scary thing that could in theory happen, which is he passes, we TP our Farground, and then he chumps the Ogre.
Force surrender in 30 seconds.
I think we're still fine if that happens though. Like, in theory, it turns a tie condition into a lose condition, but I don't think that really happens. Hey, look at that. What a nice item. Just jam a bunch of heroes into this line. Feels good. He got 2 creeps to our 0, though. Or, 2 creeps to our 1. Okay, so 1 creep over us. Feels bad. 8 gold for 2 means he's got a flask, which means he's opening by flasking the tree, which feels really bad. Or sorry, 7 gold for 2. That's why we know he has a flask. If it's 7 for 2, it's always a flask. Which is like the saddest thing ever. The Sorla will never be released from her prison. Rip. I mean, he has nothing proactive to do, right? Which means we can just open by using Maul.
Force surrender.
Ready to fight.
I mean, we can kill the thing in front of our Satyr. We can develop... If we play Roseleaf, we can develop Satyr, Roseleaf, plus something else. Plus Assassin's Apprentice. I mean, we've got a lot of play options.
I know my priorities.
I'll make the sisterhood proud.
Force surrender in 30 seconds.
Treant, with you by my side, no harm will come to me.
I offer you this protection.
All who oppose the Red Mist will die.
The unclean doesn't
This
have
guy.
Force surrender in
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of units. Okay. I feel pretty good about this, all things considered. I mean, I lost 2. Feels kind of bad, but I think his situation looks like it feels worse.
It's all according to plan.
Yikes. I don't know. I mean, if we don't get creep spawns, this could actually be a tie, right? He's got 2 heroes to our 0 here. And we've got no creeps to play from hand, which is spooky. We got no creep spawns. Could be a tie. I mean, at this point, we basically have inevitability. Huh? I mean, if he has a god hand, he could actually win. It's technically possible he could win. If he plays defense, it usually stops him from playing offense, though. It should be pretty hard for him to win. It should be. But he could maybe tie. We have initiative for Keenfolk if we want to use it. We're scared of Coup. Is probably the biggest proactive threat he could do. To play around Coup, we want to play on the color that he's going to Coup. If he wants to release his damage at this point, he wants to Coup. He actually doesn't have any good coup
1
targets.
minute until forced surrender.
We need to play around coup though. So the most important thing is to just develop our defensive tools on the color that we don't want to get couped, right?
Tell us what you need, Shaw.
We can
The turf may
maul there. Oof.
and
Time.
You don't need to enrage, so we can just ladders and no accident, right?
No assassin is created.
Forced surrender in 30 seconds. Thanks.
He can't play anything outside of in front of our Satyr right now. If he plays anything with 5 HP, we can just kill it off. Right now, it looks like we're killing this creep and then the Vul. If we kill the Vul first, it's actually... We can force him to play something by doing this, right?
Forced surrender.
And once he plays something, then we can kill the Vul. Because now he has to play something, otherwise he loses. And then, I mean, I think he should be out of options then. He could have another coup. God. Could we actually lose if he has another coup? It's a third coup. It doesn't change our play either way, right? No matter what he does. As soon as he blocks our lethal, we always just Keenfolk the Vul. Which is like... I mean, it buffs all of his guys, but... Only this attack is actually hitting our face, right? So the buffs don't matter. These games are kind of monk-ass. I feel like that should have been easier. I hate this deck so much.